Alrighty, we are live. Welcome everybody to the Degenerate Roundtable. This is going to be the Degenerate TA section of our show, where I will be going over the charts and performing technical analysis for tokens that I happen to find interesting or follow. Today we're going to be going over the charts for PulseChain because Richard Hart tweeted a few things this morning that were not so favorable to people that were hoping for single-sided staking on PulseX. And if you've been following that ecosystem for a while, meaning the Richard Hart ecosystem, PulseChain and Hex, you know that the price moves when the man speaks. He is the god king of that ecosystem. And so after the tweets that he made this morning, price started moving to the downside. It was first reflected on PulseX, right? I think PulseX so far has taken the brunt of the downwards price action, and everything else just followed. Today, we're actually going to be taking a look at not PulseX, but PulseChain, because hey, it's the main ecosystem token, and why not start with that? So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you guys. Give me 1 second. I'm going to shift over to a larger view for myself. All right. So what we are looking at here is the daily chart on PulseChain. Now, what's interesting about this chart is you can see that we have this downwards sloping trend line that has been forming since about the end of the first week since the launch of PulseChain. So we've had this downtrend so far for the past 2 weeks or so. Recently, with the announcement of the BlackRock ETF news, a lot of coins started to move to the upside. PulseChain is not an exception to that. If you can see here, we broke past that downwards trend line and actually regained the 10-day moving average as well. Now, we tried to reclaim that 20-day moving average, but got squarely rejected. If we take a fib retracement from our all-time high here and take it to the swing low, you notice that we got rejected here. Oh, sorry. Give me 1 second. That's not what I wanted to do. I actually wanted to take a short-term fib retracement from this swing high to our swing low. And if you notice that 0.382 level lines up squarely with that 20-day moving average. And we got rejected not once, but twice, thrice before price, wow, made a rhyme there, actually started moving to the downside. However, if you do a fib retracement here, from our local low to our local swing high here, you notice that price so far has rejected the 0.786 level here. We're probably going to consolidate for a little bit around this area over the next few days, maybe, because if you know anything about Fibonacci levels, you know that this 0.618 to 0.786 area is a great value area for investors, right? This is a great value area. So people have a habit of scooping up assets at these prices. So you could see why PulseChain respected this 0.786 level. I'm going to give you guys both the bearish and the bullish case here, right? Because I'm not going to give you guys any hopium in other direction. I'm just going to let you know what I see on the charts as they play out. Oh, and before I even get to this, see, that's how you know I'm new to this. Nothing on this show is to be taken as financial advice. I am giving you my subjective interpretation of the news, and in this case, of the charts as they unfold. Once again, subjective interpretation, my opinion. So do not take any of this as gospel or as financial advice. But with that little bit of housekeeping out of the way, like I said, I'm going to give you both the bearish and bullish case. Let's start off with the bearish case. So we've already started breaking down towards that 0.786 fib level on the short term. Now, where can price go after this? Well, the next area of support that I see PulseChain heading down to, if we break down from this level, is around this 0.778 area. And this will serve as some kind of support, right? Even though it might be a little bit of just weak support, because this was our local low, right? For the cycle, this happens to be our cycle low. And if you notice, that's just around where the bottom of the Bollinger Bands are also. And so that's also going to it's also going to serve as a little bit of support if price does go down that way. Now, me personally, when PulseChain released, I started tracking this from as soon as the charts were available, I started tracking this, right? And so one of the primary reasons why I'm doing that is I want to see if PulseChain and the other RH ecosystem tokens actually follow a 60-day cycle pattern or a 20-day cycle pattern, right? Because if it does fall in line with that 60-day cycle pattern, it's going to make swing trading a lot more easy to do, right? Because it's going to give you some level of accuracy and precision when you're determining when to exit and enter positions in this particular token. So far we have a low on day number. Let's see, where's our low here? So far we have a low on day 29. Now, if this were to follow a 60-day cycle, I expect the low to come in. Let's see, we are now currently on day 43. So usually I would expect the low, if we're in a left translated cycle, to come in anywhere between 7 to 21 days, right, after day 30. And so since we are currently on day 43 and we still have not made a new low, if PulseChain is following a 60-day cycle pattern, I would expect the low to come in probably around the next 8 days or so. So look for a new low to come in around July 6th. So first week of July, the next 8 days, that's when I'm expecting a new cycle low for PulseChain. If it does happen, and if PulseChain is going to follow the 60-day cycle pattern. Now, if we do happen to break down past that 30778 level and form a new low, we could expect price to come down here, right? 4 zeros and a 627. Why? Well, because this is really the only area where we have a chunk of price action to serve as support. Now, do I expect it to come down to this area? The probability of that happening, especially since the overall market sentiment right now is, neutral to bullish, I don't expect PulseChain to go down to these levels. And if they actually do head down to this level, I don't expect this price to last long. And same thing if price were to collapse downwards here to around 4 zeros and a 3.6. Is it possible? Possible. Probable. Not so much. But if it does happen, I do not expect that price to last too long. If you notice, since we have reclaimed this medium-term trend line here, if price were to come down below that point, that 4 zeros and a 7.7, price is also going to use this long-term trend line, which acted as resistance. It's now going to use that as support. So there are your targets for the bears. If we were to break down from this 0.786 area, we are going to likely head down first to the, let's see here, to 3 zeros and a 7.7, right? Probably find a little bit of support there. If we break down further, look for price to come down here to 4 zeros and a 6.1. Shit, I've been saying 3 zeros. It's actually 4 zeros. And if we break down from 4 zeros in a 6.1, let's see, we're gonna look for maybe 4 zeros and a 5, right? Use this trend line as support, and the lowest I expect it to go is 4 zeros and a 3.5. I don't expect it to stay down there that long if it does happen, because that price is such a great value, is so far below SAC price. It's like almost 75% discount from SAC price. So I don't expect that price to last too long. That's your bearish case. Now, for our bullish scenario, well, we kind of spoke about it a little bit earlier already. The first sign that's good for the bulls is that, well, price reclaimed this downward sloping trend line and broke through it, right? So that means our downtrend has technically been broken. But the next step is to reclaim this 10-day moving average once again, and then the 20-day moving average. If you guys actually notice here, you see where the moving averages here converge. Whenever you're looking at an asset and you're looking for moving averages converging like this, whenever you see something like that happen, expect some kind of volatility during the time when they actually cross. If you can see here, the price action has stayed relatively crabby for like the past week or so until these two moving averages converged. And then PulseChain was like, okay, I'm at a crossroads. Where am I going to head? Am I starting to head downwards, or am I going to start heading upwards? Well, price tried to tread that 20-day moving average, but when Richard tweeted this morning, price started to come down a little bit. So in order for us to be a little bit more confident that price is starting to reverse from this downtrend and start a new trend to the upside, we need to reclaim this 10-day first and then the 20-day moving average. And if you notice, check this out. The short-term fib levels also happen to line up with that 0.382 level. So in addition to the 10 and the 20-day moving average, I would like to see PulseChain reclaim this 0.382 level at 3 zeros and an 11, right? Once it has done that, it's probably going to start pushing up against the Bollinger Bands here on the daily, start pushing that to the upside, and then try to reclaim the 618 and the 786 levels. Once these short-term fib levels have been reclaimed, then you can start checking off a few more of these boxes. Okay, now I'm a little bit more confident that price is trying to create that new trend. Whenever you're doing technical analysis, I personally think it's good practice to not get ahead of yourself. Check off these boxes, price targets that the asset is going to reclaim. And then as it reclaims these price targets, right, it stair steps its way up, then your confidence can increase, right? Because I guarantee you're probably going to see people like, oh my God, price is pumping today. I'm excited. But you as a technical and analyst should be like, well, okay, price is pumping. So what? Did it reclaim key areas of resistance, key fib levels, key moving averages that would make you so excited that price is moving up? And if the answer is no, then those people are probably just, FOMOing in on the excitement. But that's me personally, right? And so, like I said, the short term reclaim the 382 level here, 3 zeros and an 11, and then make its way up to trying to break through the 0.618 level here, which is 3 zeros and a 13, and then the 786 level, which is 3 zeros and a 14, 726 to be exact. That's for the short term. Now, for the long-term fib levels that we would like PulseChain to reclaim, well, same thing. Let's take a fib retracement from our swing high, that's our all-time high, to our current low. Well, what is the 0.382 level looking like? Well, it's lining up here with the tops of these candles at around 15.8. So 3 zeros and a 15.8. If we are going to encounter resistance, this is probably an area that PulseChain might have a little bit of difficulty reclaiming. Because like I said, you have a lot of price action here. And when I say a lot, relatively speaking, right? It's only a bit over a month old, this asset. But you can see here that this 382 level lines up with the tops of these candles. And so that's going to serve as extra resistance when PulseChain tries to reclaim this level of 3 zeros and a 15.8. Same thing. If we reclaim this level, then we're going to make our way up to the 618 level, which is 3 zeros and a 20, and then the 786 level, 3 zeros and a 24. Now, once PulseChain has broken past its all-time high, right, then you can most certainly be confident that we are in a new upwards trend. In fact, those of you who know or are familiar with Elliott wave analysis, you know that this pretty much looks like a wave 1. And currently this looks like a wave 2. And we're going to be heading into a wave 3. Right? I'll leave the Elliott wave analysis for a different video, but you know, I'm just saying, if we are heading into the wave 3 of PulseChain, I'm going to be expecting new all-time highs within this summer, probably sometime late July or early August, when Bitcoin finally starts to make a move, a bullish move to the upside. So look out for that. Anyways, that's pretty much all I have for you guys here today. One more thing that I want you guys to pay attention to. Because the chart is so young, this might not be so significant. But for example, if you're analyzing Bitcoin and you're analyzing it using the 60-day cycles, the reason why this high here is important is when we are in a downtrend. Once price starts to move up and then they reclaim and break past their last cycle high, as a technical analyst, that's an indicator for you to say, okay, wow, price is really starting to move upwards, and because we broke past the last cycle high, then I can be pretty confident in saying that we are starting to reverse the current trend. In this case, moving from a downtrend to an uptrend. But hey, that's all I wanted to share with you guys today. Hopefully you found that useful. If you did find it useful, leave us a like, a comment, a share. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Ring that bell notification so you get notified when all of our videos come up. And until next time, take care.